Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of ITS Now, episode 13. This week we're focusing on soccer and soccer only. So I have soccer injury prevention clinics that occur every Monday and Wednesday in Innovative Training Solutions Gym from 7 to 8 p.m. Both male and female athletes are welcome to come of all age, 13 and older. They focus on a lot of strengthening, neuromuscular training, flexibility, mobility. We look at hips, ankles, and knees. I also do upper body strengthening to decrease their risk of injury or decrease their risk of concussion. But because ACL tears are so predominant, and a lot of the athletes I see are either soccer or basketball primarily, I feel like core training and ACL prevention is huge for that clinic. So why? Well, if you've heard, I'm sure you've heard in the news all these ACL tears, right? Especially on sports. If you watch ESPN, it's happening a lot. And the one thing I wanted to touch base on, majority of ACL tears are non-contact. 70% of the ACL tears out there are non-contact ACL tears, meaning that there was no collision, there was no other person involved in them tearing their ACL and the athlete tearing their ACL. It was some type of factor that they met that happened. It could be from a jump landing, it could be from cutting, it could be from uneven surfaces, it could be a lot of different factors, but 70%, that's a big number, 70% of ACL tears are non-contacts. So what happens? Why does this happen? There's a lot of different reasons. It could be hormonal for women, because women are at higher risk for ACL tears than men because of Q angles and hormones and everything else. So Q angles meaning where the hip and the knee meet, or the angle of it, I'm sorry. Not where they meet, because they don't meet. So it's the angle of the hip and the knee. Pronation of the feet, meaning you have flat feet. That's another risk factor. Hormones. So I have a lot of ACL athletes that were on their period or in their menstrual cycle when they tore their ACL. Your hormones are flowing at that time, and it makes your ligaments a little bit looser. So you're at higher risk. And then there's muscle imbalances, which is something that's controllable. And then there's also jump landings, which I've already talked about in my blogs, and I will have another YouTube episode focusing on proper jump landings again. But I feel like no one's really teaching these kids how to land properly or jump properly onto a box, or I'm not even onto a box, just jump period, and that's leading to the increased risk of injury. So those are the primary things that I'm seeing, reason why kids are tearing their ACLs. How do we fix that? So in these clinics, these kids are going to come in and they work on ankle mobility, they work on strengthening at the hip, knee, and ankle, they work on neuromuscular training, and they work on flexibility. So the neuromuscular training, I love that. It's huge, it's important, it's necessary, and if you're not doing it, you're missing something in your training protocol. It involves balancing and strengthening at the same time. So I like to use the BOSU and the exercise ball. The BOSU trainer is used big time. So basically you have the athlete do some kind of strengthening exercise, whether it's a single leg squat, sometime a hamstring curl, or whatever it is. So they're strengthening, but their body also, or their nervous system has to kick in and stabilize that joint through the strengthening of through this movement pattern. So let's say that they're doing a single leg squat on the BOSU. Their muscles have to kick in and strengthen through that joint or through that movement, and then their nervous system has to kick in and stabilize and protect that joint. So it translates over into the field or onto the court, where all types of forces are coming at them from all different angles, and now their joints are prepared and their nervous system is prepared to handle that type of force. That's the thought process behind that. Strengthening at the hip, knee, and ankle. It's got to happen. Got to get done. Deadlifts, squats, single leg squats, lunges of all variations, RDLs. They have to hinge, push, and pull in the clinics, and they have to learn how to do that. I have Ava. She's learning how to hinge still. She's getting better at it. She just has to learn how to trust her hips. It's funny. You'll learn that. I've seen that a lot of the athletes that come in here, and a lot of the ACL, non-contact ACL kids, they don't know how to hinge at their hips. They don't know how to use their hips. And I firmly believe that's one of the reasons why they tore their ACLs, because they were only ankle-knee athletes, and that's not good. That's absorbing the shock of the movement through only your ankles and knees, and you leave your hips out. So that puts a lot of strain on your ACL and all the rest of the ligaments and structures inside the knee and ankle. And then finally, ankle mobility is also addressed. So take a look at these videos, see if there's anything that you pick up off of it that you can incorporate in your daily routine. And if you're interested, come check out a soccer clinic, injury prevention series soccer strengthening clinic. I'd love to have you guys there. Until next week, I will see you guys soon. Have a great week. Exercise 1, single leg calf raise or single leg toe raise. In this exercise, the athlete's knee stays straight the entire time. The athlete has their heel positioned off of a ledge or edge, and their toes, half of their forefoot, I would say, is on the ledge. They slowly lower their heel down, keeping their knee straight, and then pop up as fast as they can, holding it at the top in extension and in plantar flexion for a second, and then slowly lower back down. Repeat this at least 20 times on each leg. Back squat or free squat. In this exercise, the athlete's knees and feet are positioned shoulder width apart. Toes are forward, knees are forward. Knees stay in line with the toes throughout the entire exercise. They never pass over the toes at all. Hips are flexed and knees are flexed in the descending position as the athlete goes down, making sure their back maintains their natural arch, no excessive forward lean at their chest. Slowly lower down, and then when pushing back up, push through their heels and stand back up, making sure that their heels never pop up at any point within this movement. This movement is excellent to develop core strength as well as quad, hamstring, and glute strength. This exercise stretches the soleus muscle, which is the deeper of the calf muscles that only crosses over one joint. That's why the knee joint is bent in this picture, because the knee joint is not involved. So, start with your foot flat on the surface, lean into or lunge into the movement slowly, making sure that your heel and foot stays in contact with the surface at all times. Hold the stretch for 20 seconds and then slowly come back. ABC planks on the exercise ball. I love this exercise because it adds a neuromuscular element, strengthening the core up. So the athlete is positioned on an exercise ball with their forearms positioned on the ball. Their trunk and legs are off the ball in plank position. They slowly draw the ABCs with their forearms, making sure to maintain plank position the entire time. Again, this is a great neuromuscular and core training exercise for any athlete to develop. Single leg hamstring curls on the exercise ball. I love giving this exercise to athletes because I think it's an essential exercise they should all be able to do. It develops core strength, it develops hamstring strength, as well as a neuromuscular element to make sure that the athletes can stabilize and strengthen at the same time. So the athletes are lying on their back, hips bridged up in the air, legs straight out in front of them on the ball. As they bridge their hips up, they raise their right leg up in the air and slowly roll the ball with the left leg only 10 times back and forth. Then they switch legs. Again, a great neuromuscular and core strengthening exercise as well as hamstring strengthening tool. Exercise 6, dot drill. I love giving this exercise because it's a great agility exercise and really forces the athlete to work on their ankle mobility throughout the entire exercise. So there are 5 patterns, and each pattern is done 5 times. You only see a glimpse of the actual workout in this video clip, but you get the idea that the athlete needs to be able to push off their toes, maintain their balance, have a nice slight bend in their knee and hip, and move as fluidly as possible between each dot. Single leg squat. I truly love this exercise because I believe it gives you a great idea on whether or not the athlete knows how to truly use their hips, knees, and ankles together through movement. A lot of times you'll see athletes are unable to use their hips or trust their hips, and they only move through their knees and ankles, meaning they lead with their knees, never really sit their hips back. In this exercise, you have the athlete maintain their foot position in contact with the ground the entire time. They slowly lower their hips down, bending through their knee as well, making sure to maintain a 90 angle with their hip and knee. Knee should never go over the toes and always have the heel in contact with the ground at all times.